Chosen ones, listen closely, for this message is meant for your heart alone. You have endured betrayal, faced those who sought to harm you, and carried wounds that no one could see. Yet, in the depths of your pain, know this truth. Allah is now taking care of those who hurt you. Every injustice, every hidden plot, every word spoken against you is seen by the most merciful, and none of it will go unanswered. What they intended for your destruction, Allah is transforming into your honor, your elevation, and your ultimate victory. Today, I will share 7 powerful lessons for the chosen ones. Lessons that will awaken your faith, strengthen your patience, and remind you that Allah's justice is unstoppable, His timing perfect, and His protection absolute. Sit, listen, and let this truth sink deep into your soul. You are guarded, you are elevated, and your silence is louder than their schemes. Chosen ones, understand this truth deeply. The moments you felt invisible, abandoned, and crushed under the weight of betrayal, Allah was present, watching, and recording every detail. He witnessed the harsh words spoken behind your back, the plans whispered in shadows, the false accusations hurled against your name, and the schemes meant to destroy your peace, your dignity, and your faith. Even when you cried in silence, feeling that no one could see your suffering or understand your pain, the most merciful was there, counting every tear, every sigh, and every sleepless night. Know that His witnessing is not passive. It is active, intentional, and part of a greater divine plan. Every injustice that pierced your heart was observed by one who sees more than any human eye can perceive, and who understands more than any mind can comprehend. Your patience was not unnoticed, your restraint not wasted, and your silence was never ignored. In fact, the very silence you maintained, the very moments when you held your tongue instead of responding in anger, became a testimony of your faith, an offering to Allah, and a shield against the harm meant for you. Those who tried to harm you acted as though you were powerless, as though their plots could change your destiny, but little did they know that every action against you was entering into the record of divine justice, and every hidden betrayal was preparing the stage for a revelation they could never anticipate. And so, chosen ones, even when you felt alone, even when despair seemed to touch the edges of your soul, remember this: Allah witnessed every tear, every humiliation, every act of betrayal, and He is the one who will make the unseen seen, the hidden revealed, and the scales of justice balanced in ways that only He can orchestrate. Your faith, your patience, and your trust in Him are more powerful than any scheme, and the one who watches all things is already preparing the outcomes so that truth, honor, and divine justice rise above all attempts to harm you. In the silence of your trials, in the depth of your pain, let your heart rest in this unwavering truth. You were never alone, and nothing was ever wasted, because Allah sees all and will respond with justice that is perfect, complete, and eternal. Chosen ones, never underestimate the power of your silence, for it has spoken louder than any words you could have uttered, louder than any argument, and far more forceful than any confrontation. While the world may have misread your restraint as weakness or passivity, in truth, your silence became a mirror reflecting the reality of those who sought to harm you, a witness against the schemes and injustices they tried to hide in the shadows. Every insult, every whisper, every hidden agenda directed toward you was silently documented, not only by Allah, the most just, but also by the very essence of truth that flows through the universe, a truth that cannot be concealed forever. Those who plotted against you may have thought they could manipulate, deceive, or intimidate, believing that your reaction would define the outcome, but in reality, your silence was a declaration of faith, a demonstration of restraint, and a powerful weapon that exposed the weakness in their own hearts, their dishonesty, and their corruption. It is in the quiet moments of your endurance, when you chose patience over retaliation, when you withheld anger in favor of trust in Allah, that the greatest justice began to take shape, for silence has a way of amplifying the weight of truth, and those who acted with cruelty will eventually face the consequences of their own actions in ways they cannot control. Your quiet dignity, your refusal to engage in petty disputes or to retaliate hastily, has become the very evidence against those who sought to diminish you, and while they may feel temporarily victorious in their arrogance, Allah is preparing a reality where their deceit, their lies, and their betrayal will stand exposed, undeniable and irrevocable. Chosen ones, know this: in the sacred balance of the universe, silence is not weakness, it is divine strategy. It is trust in Allah's timing, a reflection of patience, and the mechanism through which justice will ultimately manifest. Every moment you endured in quiet strength, every tear shed in hidden solitude, and every time you restrained your hand or tongue, Allah recorded it as a testimony of your righteousness, and when the scales tip, it will be your silence that cries out, your restraint that proves your power, and the very patience you cultivated that becomes the instrument of divine vindication. Let this sink deep into your heart. Your silence has spoken, your restraint has testified, and your faith has turned into the greatest accuser of those who sought to harm you, because Allah's justice will always reveal what words could not capture and what hearts could not see. Chosen ones, understand this eternal truth. Every word that pierced your heart, every betrayal that left you shattered, every injustice that weighed heavily upon your spirit was never meaningless, and it was never intended merely as punishment or misfortune. It was meant to elevate you, to refine you, and to prepare you for the destiny that only Allah can see. The pain inflicted upon you, the wounds left by those who sought to harm you, were not signs of weakness or abandonment, but divine instruments shaping your character, purifying your intentions, and strengthening your faith. Because Allah, the Most Wise, does not allow a trial without a purpose, and He does not allow suffering without a plan for elevation. Those who attempted to bring you down unknowingly became the architects of your rise. The very actions they intended for destruction became bricks in the foundation of your honor, resilience, and spiritual strength. And every humiliation or rejection you endured carried within it a secret seed of transformation that only patience, trust, and faith could nurture into victory. While they believed they were controlling your fate, Allah was quietly rewriting it, turning their malice into your testimony, their deceit into your insight, and their attempts to diminish you into the force that would reveal your true light, because every trial you faced was calibrated to teach you lessons no comfort could ever provide, to strip away superficial attachments, to deepen your connection with your Creator, and to awaken the strength within you that could never be broken by human hands. Their betrayal sharpened your perception, their cruelty strengthened your heart, and their falsehood revealed the value of truth, until you began to stand with dignity, unshaken by fear, unbent by harm, and untainted by malice, demonstrating to the world and to yourself that elevation is never in spite of hardship, but often because of it, and that what was intended to wound you was, in reality, the very mechanism Allah used to lift you higher than you could have imagined, to prepare you for a purpose greater than your own desires, and to shape a destiny that reflects not just your endurance, but your unwavering trust in Him. Because, chosen ones, the hurt you experienced was never punishment. It was preparation, and in the perfect timing of Allah, every scar, every tear, and every moment of suffering will blossom into honor, into strength, and into a legacy of faith, resilience, and divine elevation that no human hand could ever have orchestrated. Chosen ones, understand this profound reality. You are not required to step into every battle, to correct every injustice, or to confront every person who sought to harm you, because true justice belongs to Allah alone, and His wisdom is far greater than anything the world can measure. While your human instinct may urge you to respond, retaliate, or prove yourself, know that every act of restraint, every moment you held back from confrontation, and every time you chose patience over anger, is not weakness, it is trust in the most just, and it becomes a vessel through which divine justice flows. Those who plotted against you, who whispered lies, who betrayed, humiliated, or undermined you, may feel temporarily victorious, but their victories are fleeting, for Allah sees all things, records all deeds, and orchestrates consequences with precision that no human hand can manipulate. Your role is not to enforce fairness according to your understanding, but to maintain your integrity, preserve your heart, and remain steadfast in faith, because the one who controls the universe has already set the wheels of justice in motion, and no act of deceit or malice can escape His decree. Imagine the irony, chosen ones, that while you withhold your hand from revenge, Allah's hand works in ways that are far more powerful, far more certain, and far more revealing than anything you could accomplish on your own. Every plot they crafted, every insult they uttered, every scheme they believed would diminish you, is quietly being unraveled in the ledger of divine accountability. And when the time comes, their intentions will confront them in ways that leave no room for denial, excuse, or manipulation. Your silence, your patience, and your reliance upon Allah are not passive. They are active forms of worship, forms of trust, and channels through which the scales of justice are balanced with perfection. Chosen ones, the world may push you to seek retribution, to assert yourself, or to demand acknowledgement, but the truth is that such human efforts are small, temporary, and prone to error, whereas Allah's intervention is perfect, eternal, and absolute, and it requires nothing from you except your faith, your patience, and your unwavering belief that He sees, He knows, and He acts according to His infinite wisdom. Let this settle in your heart. You are not powerless, you are not forgotten, and you are not abandoned, because justice does not require your intervention. It requires your trust, your submission, and your steadfastness in faith. And in that very trust, the harm done to you becomes the vehicle for your elevation, the exposure of truth, and the ultimate vindication that only the most just can deliver. Chosen ones, let your heart fully grasp this eternal truth. Every person who has caused you pain, betrayed your trust, or sought to harm you is walking along a path that Allah, the most wise and the most just, has already written, and every action they take, every thought they entertain, and every secret plot they believe is hidden is already known, accounted for, and destined to meet its divine consequence. The plans of those who hurt you may have seemed powerful, unpredictable, or overwhelming, but in reality, they are entirely confined within the boundaries of Allah's decree, moving exactly as He wills, and nothing can escape His perfect knowledge or control. While your enemies may have acted with arrogance, thinking they could shape your destiny or silence your truth, the reality is that Allah has already inscribed their outcomes, and every act of malice, every lie, and every betrayal is already being woven into the tapestry of consequences that will expose them completely, leaving no room for denial, evasion, or excuse. Chosen ones, this is why you do not need to seek revenge, to retaliate, or to chase justice through human hands, because Allah's decree surpasses all human understanding, and His timing surpasses all human calculation. What they intended to hide, Allah will reveal, and what they sought to use to destroy you will return to them in ways that are perfectly measured, just, and undeniable. Even when you feel anxious, impatient, or powerless, remember that the unseen is fully visible to the One who knows all things, and that the trajectory of every life is already set according to His infinite wisdom, and the same hand that has protected you and guided you through pain is also orchestrating the inevitable exposure and reckoning of those who attempted to harm you. Imagine, chosen ones, the comfort and the strength that comes from knowing that you do not have to plan, fight, or argue for justice, because every injustice, every scheme, every hidden agenda is already on the record, and Allah's perfect timing will reveal the truth in ways so powerful that the world will witness the consequences they cannot escape. The arrogance that once gave them courage will falter. The deceit that once seemed clever will unravel, and the pain they caused will serve as the very instrument through which Allah manifests His justice, ensuring that their outcomes are fully aligned with the intentions of their hearts, whether good or evil. And while they scramble, and strategize in vain, you can remain in peace, in dignity, and in trust, because what Allah has written cannot be altered, delayed, or denied, and what was meant to harm you will ultimately glorify your patience, amplify your honor, and magnify your faith. Every tear, every sigh, and every moment of restraint you practiced becomes a witness to the world that your trust in Allah was never misplaced, that your faith was never naive, and that your life is under the protection and guidance of the Most High. So, chosen ones, rest in this absolute certainty. The outcomes of those who hurt you are already written, and every injustice they committed, every act of malice they attempted, and every hidden betrayal will converge in a reality orchestrated by Allah that reflects perfect justice, divine wisdom, and undeniable truth. And in that reality, you will see that patience, faith, and trust in Allah are more powerful than any scheme, more enduring than any insult, and more victorious than any human act of revenge could ever be, because He is Al-Muqsit, the most just, and nothing escapes His knowledge, His timing, or His perfect decree. Chosen ones, hear this with your heart and let it sink into your soul. The moments when you endured betrayal, humiliation, and injustice without retaliation, when you resisted the temptation to lash out, when your tongue was held in restraint despite the fire in your chest, and when your spirit was tested by the cruelty of others, are not just trials, they are sacred acts. And every act of patience you have cultivated is being recorded, multiplied, and elevated in ways that the human mind cannot even begin to comprehend, because Allah, the Most Merciful, does not allow your endurance to be wasted, and He does not let your silence, your restraint, or your suffering go unnoticed, for patience is not merely the absence of action, it is an active, conscious alignment with divine will, a demonstration of unwavering faith, and a declaration to the universe that your trust is in Allah alone, that your peace does not depend on the fallibility of human beings, and that your dignity is rooted not in the validation of others, but in the acknowledgement of the one who knows all things, sees all things, and orchestrates the perfect outcome of every affair. Every tear you have shed in private, every sigh of exhaustion that no one witnessed, every moment you felt small, powerless, or misunderstood, is transforming into a reservoir of reward, a wealth of spiritual merit, and a light that will illuminate your path in ways you cannot yet imagine. For patience is the currency with which Allah rewards His servants, and its value is multiplied far beyond the reckoning of this world, often manifesting in blessings, opportunities, and elevation that arrive quietly, unexpectedly, and with precision that leaves no doubt that divine wisdom is at work. Chosen ones, understand that the enemies who sought to harm you, the deceivers who plotted in darkness, and the betrayers who rejoiced in your temporary suffering, will never comprehend the force you have built within through restraint. And though they may have thought they triumphed in the moment, their victories are temporary shadows, and your patience is the fire that forges an unshakable legacy, because every injustice they intended for harm has now become a platform for your elevation, a ladder for your success, and a testament to the resilience of a heart aligned with Allah's will. Know also that patience is not passive resignation. It is an active spiritual weapon that protects your soul, purifies your intentions, strengthens your character, and draws divine favor toward you, because when you endure without complaint, when you remain steadfast without bitterness, and when you trust without hesitation, Allah multiplies your reward in ways that surpass imagination, weaving blessings, spiritual elevation, and honor into the very fabric of your life and destiny, and He transforms what the world considers setbacks, delays, or suffering into mechanisms of spiritual amplification, divine testing, and eventual triumph that those who hurt you cannot touch, control, or interfere with. Every moment of quiet endurance, every act of choosing faith over frustration, every decision to let Allah's decree unfold instead of forcing your own hand, becomes a seed planted in eternity, watered by divine mercy, and destined to bloom into outcomes so profound that the world will witness the truth of His justice, and you will realize that the weight of your patience has carried more than you could see, has earned more than you could measure, and has prepared you for a destiny far greater than the temporary triumphs of those who opposed you. So, chosen ones, let your heart rest, let your spirit rise, and let your faith deepen, for every trial endured in patience is multiplied into honor, every suffering borne with trust is multiplied into reward, and every injustice faced without retaliation is multiplied into victory, proving that Allah's system of justice and reward is perfect, eternal, and beyond the understanding of any who rely solely on human perception. And in this sacred truth, you will discover that patience is not only a shield and a strength, but also the most powerful instrument of divine elevation, a source of endless blessing, and the secret to experiencing the profound reality that Allah's timing, His mercy, and His reward are infinitely greater than any worldly triumph or fleeting revenge could ever be. For your patience has already written your victory, multiplied your honor, and sealed your reward in ways that only the Most High can measure, orchestrate, and reveal. Chosen ones, listen with your heart and let this truth settle deep into your soul. You are not alone, you were never abandoned, and the one who knows all that was, all that is, and all that will be is actively watching over you, guiding your steps, shielding your spirit, and orchestrating your elevation in ways that surpass human comprehension. The trials, the betrayals, the schemes of those who sought to harm you, all of it, every single act, every hidden whisper, every calculated attempt to break you has been under the watchful gaze of Allah, and none of it will ever escape His justice or His perfect plan. Understand this, chosen ones. While the world may have made you feel small, powerless, or alone, your path has been illuminated by divine guidance, every step measured, every moment of hesitation calculated, and every trial designed not to punish you but to prepare you, refine you, and elevate you to the rank that only a heart purified by patience, faith, and trust in Allah can achieve. You may have felt the sting of betrayal, the weight of injustice, or the loneliness of silence, but every moment you endured was being transformed into protection. Every tear you shed was being turned into strength, and every act of faith, even when unseen by human eyes, became a signal to the universe that your destiny is under divine supervision, guided by the one who does not err and does not overlook. The enemies who tried to harm you, those who schemed against your honor, the people who rejoiced in your perceived setbacks, they are all part of the divine plan, and their actions, though intended for harm, are now instruments that Allah is using to elevate you, strengthen you, and demonstrate His power and justice in ways that will leave no doubt about His sovereignty, His mercy, and His perfect wisdom. Every hardship you endured, every injustice you faced, and every attempt to diminish you has been carefully observed, weighed, and redirected toward your growth, because Allah does not leave His chosen ones unprotected, and He does not allow those who aim to harm them to have the final word. Even when the world seemed hostile, even when silence and patience felt unbearable, Allah's protection was surrounding you like an invisible fortress. His guidance was steering you away from paths that would harm your soul, and His wisdom was arranging circumstances to ensure that your elevation would be pure, complete, and undeniable. Remember, chosen ones, that protection from Allah is not always visible in the form you expect. It may not arrive as a clear barrier, it may not always shield you from every discomfort or trial, but it is present in ways that the heart recognizes and the soul understands, and it ensures that every step taken in faith, every act of trust, and every moment of reliance upon Him is leading you toward the destiny that He has written for you. Guidance from Allah is also subtle, often disguised as doors closing, lessons learned, or seemingly small decisions that turn out to be monumental. And yet, even when you feel uncertain, confused, or overwhelmed, His invisible hand is directing you toward people, opportunities, and circumstances that are aligned with your highest good, while simultaneously diverting you from the paths that would lead to harm, distraction, or spiritual compromise. And elevation, chosen ones, is the ultimate manifestation of Allah's care. It is the unseen transformation that occurs within your character, your faith, your resilience, and your spiritual insight, preparing you to fulfill your purpose, influence others positively, and demonstrate the power of divine justice without ever having to prove yourself to the world. Know this: what they intended for harm, Allah is using for your honor. What they plotted to diminish you, Allah is using to magnify your influence and your spiritual authority. What they hoped would break you, Allah is using to solidify your faith, sharpen your insight, and elevate your status in ways that cannot be measured by worldly standards. Chosen ones, every moment of fearlessness you cultivate, every act of trust you commit, every silent prayer whispered in the depth of your heart, and every trial you endure in patience is being transformed into protection, guidance, and elevation that will reveal the truth to the world and testify to the power of Allah's plan. So rest in certainty, rise in faith, and walk with dignity, for you are under the care of the Most High, the most just, and the most merciful, and His protection is your fortress, His guidance is your compass, and His elevation is your destiny. Know, without doubt, that every harm plotted against you is being redirected toward your growth. Every trial is a stepping stone to your honor, and every enemy is a witness to the divine orchestration of your rise, because Allah does not abandon His chosen ones. He does not fail them, and He ensures that every moment of trust, patience, and faith is multiplied into a legacy of protection, guidance, and elevation that will endure far beyond the temporary victories of those who sought to harm you, proving, beyond any shadow of doubt, that the Most High is the guardian of the righteous, the guide of the faithful, and the elevator of His chosen ones, in ways that no human hand, scheme, or intention could ever challenge, alter, or overcome. Chosen ones, now take a deep breath and let this truth settle in your heart. You are not forgotten, you are not powerless, and you are never alone, because the Most High, the most just, and the most merciful is fully aware of every tear you have shed, every injustice you have endured, and every moment your heart was tested. What others intended for harm, Allah has already transformed into your honor, your elevation, and your ultimate victory. The betrayal, the scheming, and the cruelty of those who hurt you are no longer your burden. They are His responsibility, and His justice will prevail in ways that are perfect, undeniable, and beyond human comprehension. So, do not waste your energy on anger, revenge, or worry. Instead, guard your heart, preserve your faith, and hold firm to the truth that your patience, your silence, and your unwavering trust in Allah are more powerful than any scheme, any insult, or any attempt to bring you down. The same one who has protected you in unseen ways will continue to guide your steps, elevate your position, and surround you with blessings beyond what you can imagine. Trust His timing, trust His wisdom, and rest in His decree, for the one who sees all, knows all, and controls all is orchestrating your life with precision, justice, and mercy. Today, let your soul rejoice in this certainty. Allah is taking care of those who hurt you, and while the world may try to confuse, diminish, or challenge you, nothing can touch the divine protection surrounding a chosen one. Walk forward with faith, carry your heart with dignity, and remember that your life, your trials, and your victories are in the hands of the Most High, and in His hands, every hardship becomes honor, every test becomes triumph, and every enemy becomes a witness to the power, wisdom, and mercy of Allah. Chosen ones, your patience, your faith, and your trust are not in vain. They are shaping a destiny that is pure, elevated, and unstoppable. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.